Welcome back to the YMCA Men's Floor Hockey League podcast, The Circle of Jerks. You are listening to the Week 3 preview. Again, please feel free to give us any type of feedback you have, specifically on the names. I'm getting a little tired of saying it. And also because Kurt has kind of etched into the table C of J on the table.
I wonder what that stands for.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out myself.
Cobj?
Yeah, no, College of Joe. So anyway, you're going to be listening to Jeremy has a crossbow. Not lying. Jeremy just picked up a crossbow out of Kurt's studio here. I hope it's just a prop. So this is the Week 3 preview. We're going to, as you would think, preview the 4 games and give our take on it. So you know what, Jared Bonet, do you want to bring us through the schedule first of all?
Sure. Bear with me 1 second. Let me look at it over here. So looking at Week 3, we have the 6:30 game, Public Enemy versus NWA.
And jerseys are in, so you should be able to have your jersey, but NWA, if for whatever reason your jersey doesn't fit, or you just want to wear your own shit, you're wearing red.
All right, 7:30 game, we have the Furious 5 versus a Tribe Called Quest. At the 8:30 game, Wu-Tang versus the Sugar Hill Gang. 9:30, the Roots at Run DMC.
Interesting, just overall, interesting setup this week. You know, I feel like Week 1 was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
3 one-goal games and a blowout. Week 2 was a little anticlimactic after Week 1, but then Week 3, I had a hard time picking every single one of these games just because the styles are so different, I feel like, overall.
I agree. I was in the same mindset. I kept going back and forth on my picks. But, I mean, once we get to them, you have your reasoning behind it, but I feel like at any point, the other team can pull something out that you don't expect.
Yeah, I do think that all 4 of these teams have a clear favorite, although I guess we'll find out. We haven't talked about this yet, but to me, there's a clear favorite in all 4 games, but the styles are so different that we could look pretty freaking foolish by the end of this week.
But it's the same thing as the start of the year when you try to do that, your power rankings through 1 through 8, and it's so difficult to do that simply because every team has such a dangerous quality about them. So we'll see where it plays out.
A team with Air Canada and Tim Scott has 0 points right now. I mean, that should scare you just alone, or not scare you, but just show you the parity in the league. So let's jump into the 6:30 game. Like Jeremy said, it's Public Enemy at NWA in red. Public Enemy, the away team, in white. Hey, great job everyone figuring that out, by the way, although it probably helps that your jersey was reversible. And on that note, a lot of man flesh Wednesday night.
A lot of man flesh.
But I do have to say, I was nervous about the jerseys. I wasn't crazy about the idea. They work. Like, I actually really freaking like those jerseys a lot.
Being able to have white and a color really makes you stand out more.
Yeah. I'm gonna wear that out in public.
Without anything underneath.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Public Enemy NWA, you know what? To me, this game is all about, it's going to be a low-scoring game, I think Public Enemy's defense is going to have to really step up if they want a chance. Because you got Mike Bryant, you got Mike Sturgis, Newberry, Abadrick, folks. They all can score, and they showed that last week. They all can score. They all have to be reckoned with. And Public Enemy's defense didn't look all that great last week, which is surprising for a team with Tim Anderson on it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think the Public Enemy is. They met their match last week. They were out hustled, and ultimately it failed for them. But coming into this week, I do think their offense is good. I do think that that's going to be their strong suit. I don't think it's going to be their defense because they have a great goaltender. I don't think they need to focus much on defense. It's blocking Mike Bryant, who's had a great start to the season. But I'm nervous about Steve Newberry because he doesn't have a Paul to go up against. So he's going up against a Chris Enright and a Tim Anderson, and he can just run around and stop them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Unless, because he doesn't have a formidable opponent like Paul, not that no one's formidable, but like a clear number 1 like that, maybe he goes back to offense and his defense is absent.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see, once again, what Mike Sturgis does. I think this is going to be an opportunity for a big game for him. I actually personally have NWA going over Public Enemy this game. To me, Conco had a great week last week. I expect him to do the same, and I think these guys are really starting to mesh to get going, and I see Sturgis having a breakout game this week.
Yeah, so in the recap, earlier in the week, or 20 minutes ago, depending on if you're listening to this or are sitting here and just recording this back to back like we are. I said that everyone was talking about how Mike Sturgis needs to step up, or he needs to change his style, or the team needs to incorporate him more. I actually disagree. I think what makes NWA so dangerous is because they have multiple styles on the same team. Now that can be a downside. That and I'm the first one to talk about that. That can definitely be a downside if you're not gelling or you don't have that cohesion on your team. But for NWA, I don't see it working in their advantage because they have so many different players who can play so many different styles, and if you shut one style down, they're just going to pick another one up. Okay, you don't like Mike Bryant's coast-to-coast style? Well then, great. We're going to start passing it to the three-point line, and Habitur and Sturgis are going to rip you apart. Oh, okay, you're going to start cheating towards the three-point line or the one-timers? Well, Mike Bryant's going to go coast-to-coast on you. Okay, you're going to try to do both, which would be an event in and of itself. Newberry's just going to outgrind you with folks. And there's three different styles. There's a grind style with Foss and Newberry. There's the one-timers and the passing of Habitur and Sturgis, and there's the coast-to-coast style of Mike Bryant. How do you game plan against that?
I don't know, and it's the reason that I put them at number 1 in my preseason rankings. I think this team is very deadly. If Bryant shows up every single week, rather than different than what he did last spring, I think this team can definitely go for a long run. What do you think, Andrew? Do you think you guys can keep going?
Well, we're straight out of Compton, so I well, that's what I like about my team is that we're able to adapt to so many different styles of play. We all know the different styles in this game and in this league that people play, and we can adapt to it. And I just love the depth on my team.
Do you have the most veteran team?
Don't know. I know all of our guys have been playing for a while. Like Steve Newberry's been here since the beginning.
Yeah, Newberry and Foss have been around since I've been around, but everyone else started after I started. So maybe it's pretty, but not long after I started. It's pretty deep still.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm picking my team just because we're the illest.
You guys are sick?
Yeah.
You might want to get medication for that.
Zika.
But I think I'm picking my team just because on paper I think we have the most depth and we match up pretty good against this team. Even if I think we could shut down either Chris or Tim, and then force them both. I think we could do both because even if you look at the last game, Jamie was still playing a very good style of defense against Air Canada. He stepped up a few times. Foes was able to just annoy the shit out of everybody on that team. And then Newberry was just on Paul like glue. So 3 guys right there. That opens up both Mikes to do whatever they want. Mike Sturgis is good at supporting and passing and creating plays. Mike Bryant can shoot from anywhere. And I like Chris and Tim's game, but I don't know if they have the support or depth. Although every single one of those guys on their team can score, especially Magil.
Ferngully?
Ferngully. I mispronounced it the first time. And then Bill too in net. He had 63 saves last game. So even if you just pepper him with shots, he's still going to put up a pretty good save percentage. Be able to handle it.
Bonet, who you got winning this?
I'm going with NWA. I feel like looking at Public Enemy in the past 2 games, what's worked against them are cross ice or cross gym floor, one-timers and rebound goals is what they're giving up. And NWA, with Mike Bryant's play style, that's what they're going to get. So I feel like they're going to give up a bunch of those goals. And that's really going to be the killer for Public Enemy. They've been playing sluggish, not very good D. I feel like NWA runs away with it.
I'm going to start out by saying I also have picked NWA, but I feel the least confident out of at least the 3 of you guys sounded. I went back and forth in this pick actually because, I agree with everything you guys said. NWA has the talent, and I even let in saying they can beat you 3 different ways. But Public Enemy still has a lot of defensive talent. We didn't see it last week, but on paper they have the defensive talent, and Bill Rylick is a damn good player. And so, if this game stays low scoring, if Public Enemy can keep it low, keep the defense hard, and if Bill has a strong game, I think Public Enemy ends up winning it if they keep it low. However, that's a big thing to ask of them, and I'm not sure it's going to happen. So honestly, I think either Public Enemy wins by 1 on a game like that's like 6-5, or NWA wins like 14-6.
Yeah, see that once again. This is my no-brainer pick again this week.
No, you're gonna
back
point
to
out
back
again.
back
You're
to
gonna
back
say
NWA.
No-brainer again
Hey.
after I was the only one to pick wrong last week.
Yeah, it
On your
was
no-brainer pick of the
it
week.
was NWA, and I'm gonna go
It's 2
NWA
goals.
again.
No-brainer, you say.
No-brainer. It was a no-brainer. I knew that
Two-
they were
two
gonna win by
goals
2
out.
goals.
And Kirk couldn't be here, but proxy vote was also NWA. He did send us an explanation, but I'm not fucking reading it. So
Yeah,
NWA for Kurt.
Yeah,
It was long and had typos, so all right, let's move to the 7:30 game then. Furious 5 at A Tribe Called Quest. A Tribe Called Quest will be donning their royal blue jerseys. This is my game of the week, personally. I like every year or every season. I've got a team that I'm a little too high on, and I think this season that team is Furious 5 for me. They're winless. They have no points, but I still think that they're better than what their record shows. And A Tribe Called Quest was my preseason number 1 overall. So I've got the team that I'm higher on than I probably should be against the team that I've been higher on than I probably should be from the beginning. So this is the Bob game of the week, which means it's probably going to suck.
Well, going back to last week, I mean, you picked A Tribe Called Quest in the game of the weekend, and I thought it was going to be a boring game. And to me, it was a boring game because A Tribe Called Quest plays a boring game. Simply because they just out-hustle, they outwork it. They're going to be going up against, obviously, Air Canada himself, and Tim and Gaffey, and all of these guys are 0-2 now. 0-2 after going 12-1 last season. You can tell how frustrated they are after losing again last night. This is a team that was ready to win. So are they going to win? No. This is ATCQ. I mean, they play a boring game, but this team is just so good. They're going to win games. They're going to out-hustle. They're going to meet Gaffey, which is going to be difficult for them because I think this is going to be the most one-on-one battle, especially for their energy-wise going against Gaffey and Paul. But I think ATCQ is going to take this one.
I'm gonna call this the battle of who's more Canadian for this week.
Good point.
Apologies and maple syrup all around.
Yeah, if the teams continue to play the style of game that they've played that we've seen so far, then I'm gonna say no question A Tribe Called Quest wins this game. If Furious 5 steps it up, they start passing more, they get those open looks across the net, they have the potential to give Brett a bad night, and that's really going to be the key factor. With that being said, I don't see it happening. I still see A Tribe Called Quest. Tim Scott and the net on the other end also, susceptible to those cross floor one-timers and those rebound goals. He's a bigger goalie. The movement's not always there. And again, that's how A Tribe Called Quest thrives. That's where they're getting those goals, those rebound goals, and those one-timers. So at the current way that they play, I'm picking A Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I think this is my stone cold lock of the week of the century.
The century. Wow. There's a lot of years.
Tim's a good goalie, and I think he's going to frustrate Jeff and Mike, but they're without Gaffey this week.
Whoa. I didn't know this.
Oh, I thought my bad. I thought you guys knew. Yeah, he's
Well, then it's going to be even more.
I think he's out for the next 3 weeks, I want to say.
Well, this is no longer my game of the week, man. Come on. You can't
Yeah, this is going to be a blowout now.
But
not like Paul's gonna pass him anyway.
But that's another defensive element that is taken away from that team. And then even if you shut down Jeff and Mike, you still got John Strachan because everybody forgets about him.
Wait, he's on the team?
Mike Ferrolano, I forget who I told this to, but he's I think it was you, Bob, last night, that he is the most aggressive Canadian guy because he's so nice and everything, but he's such a bull, and he knows exactly what he can do and get away with.
It's probably why he's not allowed to
Has
live
he
there.
ever had a penalty?
I do not. I was just going to ask that question. When has he ever had a penalty? He must have
I
had a
think
penalty
he-
last year.
I think he might have when he was on my team with Enright.
I don't know. I don't
I
remember
think-
him ever being in the box. I feel like he plays as aggressive, or more so, than Brad or Kurt
Yeah.
or Ian, all the guys that you think are always in the box.
But
When
he
he-
does it so nicely.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
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 You gotta emphasize that. Oh, if you're Canadian. But and then Mike, even if he hits Tim in the pads, like what usually happens, he's still gonna scoop up that rebound. He's gonna fight for that and just go around Tim. And
This team is so defensive too. I mean, you're looking at 17 goals in the first 2 games.
Which team, I'm sorry?
Tribe Called Quest. And the next closest is 21 in Public Enemy. And so this team is a very defensive team, but only because they just out-hustle. This team is just so aggressive, and if you do not meet their aggressiveness, there's no way you can win this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's my game of the week because I think it's going to be a little bit. I think it can be closer than what we're all saying, but I also have a Tribe Called Quest picked. But here's what I think it's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to the Tribe Called Quest floor players on the offensive side versus the Furious 5 defense. So the Furious 5 defense wasn't, on as good as they could have been last week, but they played good. But they didn't play as good as they could have. But you've got Pete and you've got Brad, and I guess you don't have Brad anymore. But the first 2 weeks, as we said in the recap podcast, Pat Cousineau and John Strachan were basically your two biggest threats.
Mm-hmm.
So is that going to continue? Can they continue to rely on a third and fourth round pick to be carrying them, or is this going to be Jeff and Mike? And if it is Jeff and Mike, then I actually like the Tribe Called Quest chances. If they keep rotating, if they keep passing, if they keep finding the open man, and if those support, so-called support players continue to step up and have weeks they're having, then yeah, Tribe Called Quest runs away with this. But if Mike and Jeff are relied on to be the 1 and 2, I think it's close. Paul's going to score goals. You have great goalies on both sides.
Yeah, don't forget about Brett. He was the guy in the championship last season, and we just could not score on him.
Yeah.
And that was with Paul.
And Tim also won a championship with Paul.
Yep.
So, you know what?
But was it against Brett?
No, it was not. This is before Brett's time. So I for the record, I am picking the Tribe Called Quest. This is my game of the week, but I can't give up on Furious 5 yet. Which is too bad because I think they are going to go 0-3 to start the season. And we were talking last night that they're 0-2 right now, like you were saying. That's already double their losses from last season if we're talking about the Quebecers.
It's scary. It's scary because this team is definitely very good. I think Gaffey would be a huge help this week, so it's unfortunate that he's going to be out. But you can never rule out a team with Paul Paradigm.
And Kurt's proxy vote was also for a Tribe Called Quest. Also a long-winded explanation.
Is that back-to-back sweeps?
Yeah, so, like I said, to start the podcast out, I think there are 4 clear favorites. Let's see if we continue to go in that direction. We also, the commish is participating in this game, picking teams beforehand. We didn't get his votes yet, but that's okay. And for the record, Pete R., The Bob, Jerry Bear Bonet, and Cannonball Kurt all were 3 for 4 last week at 75%
Well, Kurt
each.
followed just my picks.
Yeah, and Pete R. and Kurt Cannonball were the only two that actually had the identical picks to each other.
I was one shitty call away from a sweep, so.
Yeah, well, I was one stone cold lock of the week, or whatever the hell you're calling it, Pete R. Thanks a lot, Furious 5, because I could have been 4 for 4, and it was looking pretty good until you guys didn't quite finish it out.
Thanks a lot, Zach, for only playing with 3 players.
All right, that was a worse beat. I'll give you that. That was a worse beat. Although you guys had content on that, but anyway.
He had a 71% save percentage.
I was trying to conserve energy for my game, too.
Yeah, sure.
Can we talk about the 11 saves and 9 goals he let in the third period?
Nice
Wow.
job.
Was it that bad?
That
Yeah.
didn't come up in the
Oh,
recap?
11 and 9. 11 saves, 9 goals.
Just let that.
Well, you gotta look at who's taking stats, too. I mean...
It wasn't you, so.
Calling you out. Oh, you know what? I almost did it again. We went through John Strachan's team again without pointing out that he has the most underrated hair in the league. You guys keep talking about Joe Gant's hair. Did you guys see John Strachan's hair? Now, is it Joe Gant level? No, it's not.
It is pretty good now that I think about
But
it.
it is.
Yeah.
It's always well done.
Can they be the Hair Boys?
Have they ever been on the same team together?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
He was rookie in my season.
Yeah, no.
Last spring.
If they are, some salon has to sponsor them. All right, 8:30 game. Wu-Tang Clan at Sugar Hill Gang. 2 of the 4 people at this table are playing in that game, so I will throw it over to one who is not. Pete R., do you want to start?
Yeah, this is definitely my game of the week. I was going back and forth. I originally picked Sugar Hill Gang simply because I think this is going to be a breakout game for them. Steve had his first game last week, wasn't his best, let 20 goals in. The defense wasn't there.
Not all his fault.
No, not all his fault. The defense was definitely not there, but I see Gianni really having another good week. He loves to play Alex, and I see him getting a lot of goals against Alex. However, Gianni has said time and time again, the Bob plays him better than anyone. And that is my reason for this game going to Wu-Tang. because the Bob is going to be blocking shots from Gianni, and that was the big reason that they had so many goals against us last week. It was a lot of long-range shots. We couldn't block it. We couldn't stop it. Bob is one of the best blockers in the league, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. I think it's going to be tight, but I see Wu-Tang taking this game.
Yeah, I agree. Gotta go with the Wu. Because, I mean, you got Joe Gantera. Gianni sucks. Bob's going to be playing Gianni, so he's going to be even
Hold on,
worse.
you got two of Conco's favorite things in the entire league. Maybe the two favorite. Is there anything more favorite to you
I
than
hope
Gianni
I-
sucks and Joe Gantera?
I hope I rep this game.
This has got to be your game of the week then, right?
Yeah. Well, no. Not yet. I mean, it is my personal favorite, but for everybody else, I'm going to wait till.
Separating the
Yeah.
personal and the professional.
Yeah,
I like it.
exactly. That's how we do things around here. But I'm going to go with Wu-Tang. I think that Gianni, Kevin, and Dave are going to get a lot of good shots on Alex, and he's going to get tested big time. But I think he's been playing a lot better than when he was a rookie, and he's adapting to the game at the Y. And along with Bob and John playing defense, and also Steve too. Don't forget about him blocking shots, because he's a pain in the ass when blocking shots on
my
freeze,
God, yeah.
which is Sugar Hill Gang's bread and butter. I mean, if you look at Gianni, Kevin, and Dave.
Jeremy's saying no. Why?
I mean,
He wasn't saying that. He was shaking his head.
I wouldn't say that that's our bread and butter. I mean, a lot of our better goals have been off that pass, the one timer.
Well, yeah, of course your better goals are prettier, but
I mean, you can't. I mean, looking at last week, I mean, that was a shitty game for both goalies. You really can't. A lot of those
point.
long shots
So you
were
can't look at
fluky.
the last game. You can't look at 2 games ago. What game are we supposed to look at?
This game,
Okay.
this game
That's a
coming
good
up,
point. That's
is
a
the,
good
is the
point.
game that you're gonna look at. I feel like I'm gonna go with us because again, I'm not gonna ever bet against my team.
I thought you always been on black.
Well,
We're in white, so it's okay.
yeah, that's right, and that's the other thing. We're at home, so I feel like that's gonna be big for us.
Home court
oh,
advantage.
God.
And I mean, I like I said, we've been in shootouts for our first couple games, and like I said, I feel like putting up 19 last week is the offense is there. I feel like defensively we'll probably give up some goals, but now that we know where the scoring is coming from, it's more of a focus on defense. The goals are going to come, and I feel like it's going to be close, but a lot of our guys, Kevin Parker especially, want that revenge on John.
Oh,
That's
no.
a good
I
point.
didn't
That's a
think about
great
that.
point.
So my big
That's
point.
3 good points.
Man, Jeremy.
Take a nap.
My number one point for this game was that it was going to be a bulletin board game, but I thought it was because of me, because I've been crapping on you guys all season long. But I completely forgot that John's on my team. We're screwed. I'm sorry, Alex, in advance. Alex, I am sorry that I've been crapping on Sugar Hill Gang all season long, and Johnny hates everything I say and loves to try to prove me wrong. And I'm also sorry on John's behalf, John Chatterton's behalf, because now they have another reason to want to kick our butts. So, Alex, you're probably going to face more shots and looks and probably a lot of angry stares than you're going to the rest of the season.
You're going to get a lot of face washes by Jeremy.
Yeah.
Realistically, there's no hard feelings. We all hugged it out after the game, so.
I didn't see any of those hugs.
I was there in the parking lot. after the
And
game.
I'm not
Was he
sure.
in fighting Gaffney?
I'm not sure those hugs have been super comfortable in those tank tops. No, but in all seriousness,
Nipple on nipple action.
you know, I
Everybody
want
just slid around.
Except for John.
Gorilla Glue. I did have this, I wanted to make this my game of the week because of the bulletin board material, and Sugar Hill Gang did find their scoring touch last week, obviously, with 19 goals. But I do have to question their defense. And like Peter was saying, the long shot, maybe it's not their bread and butter so far this season, but look at the composition of this team, and you've got a lot of long shooters there. So honestly, I think this game comes down to the goalies a little bit. I think it comes down to Alex and Steve. And I don't want to put too much pressure on my own goalie, but you know what? He's been playing really well, and if he can shut down that long shot, I think we win. I think we win the landslide. We being Wu-Tang Clan. If he can't shut down that long shot, then it might turn into a little bit of a track meet. Depending on the defense that Sugar Hill Gang has played recently. Although now that I'm saying that, they're probably going to lock down defense and not have any offense instead.
You're fucked.
Yeah, I'm screwed either way. But I do think that, like you said in the recap, Jeremy, Wu-Tang Clan tends to dump it a little bit in the corners and kind of rip long shots and look for rebounds. And if Steve lets up those rebounds and your defense doesn't clear them out, then it could be the difference for us. So did we all pick Wu-Tang Clan?
No.
Except for Jeremy?
Yeah.
Except for Jeremy.
All right, 9:30. The Roots at Run DMC. Run DMC in their home goal. Who wants to kick this one off?
I'll go because I think this is my game of the week because I'm really interested to see how Run DMC responds after last week. Zach was pissed at the end of that game and said that he wanted to play that team
Great.
again, right then and there. And I think Zach and Brian and JJ, just those three playing against Pete R in Austin, it's going to be fun offensively. And then you got Rob and then Chris DePoloff. You got them too, and they can both play pretty damn well.
In case we get a not safe for work rating with all my swearing, you're now getting your racial.
I'm Polish too. I got my Polish shirt on.
Oh, he is. For the record, he's
Just-
wearing a red shirt that says Polska.
For,
Is that right? Polska?
For Leprechaun Day or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Leprechaun.
He's wearing a
St.
red
Patrick's
shirt
Day.
on
No,
St.
Leprechaun Day
Patrick's
works.
Yeah, same thing. But yeah, I'm gonna be really interested to see who comes away with this win, and I think I'm gonna go with Run DMC just because I think Zach is gonna have some animosity after last week and losing with only 3 guys. He's gonna want this win, and you know, Kenton and John are pretty good goalies, so it could go either way depending on what kind of game they have that night. But I'm gonna go with Zach on this.
Oh, John Jones. That's right. Yeah, he doesn't play well. We can already forget about the guy. And this is the guy that I had hyped up more than anyone else. You know, I'm going to go with Run DMC myself. And I wanted to make this game my game of the week, and I would have if Andy was playing. But because Andy's not playing, I think that Run DMC runs away with it, and I don't think it's close. I think it's a track meet either way. Honestly, I think that it's going to be. You might be looking at breaking the record again for goals. You know, Peter, you might end up. Your team, the Roots, might end up breaking the goal total of any team in an entire season at the rate you guys are going. But with Kenton and John and Nat, and with the defense that hasn't looked good. I mean, Run DMC's defense again didn't look good last week, but then again, they only 3 guys. The Roots defense obviously didn't look good. You let in 19 goals. This is going to be a track meet. You're going to score a ton of goals either way, but without Andy there, that's 6 goals from last week that you don't have. Run DMC's pissed. They want to rebound, and they're one of the best teams in the league. The Roots has, not to pour it on, but the Roots has the worst defensive efficiency in the league. 31% of all shot attempts against the Roots in the first 2 games have gone in. But the Roots have the most goals in the league, scoring 31 goals in 2 weeks. So, you know, and the Roots have the tied for the highest assist-to-goal ratio. So it's going to be ugly from a goalie perspective because it's going to be high scoring, which means Peter's going to love it. But I think Run DMC and Zach's crew just runs away with it.
Just to kind of piggyback off of that, you know, you have Run DMC with Zach Davis, who's pissed. You have a Roots team that let in 19 goals to a team that didn't have a Zach Davis or an Air Canada on its shooting. I mean, no offense to Gianni putting up big numbers like that. He's definitely no slouch, but he's also not one of the guys that's had 10 goal, 14 goal, you know, 16
team that I
goals.
question their offensive efficiency all season long.
Yeah, you know, he's not, you know, in the past, Paul Paradis put in 14 goals in a game. Zach Davis has had 16 goal games, especially coming off a loss that he was so upset about and only having 3 players. I don't see Jerry Wagner not showing up for 3 weeks in a row. So I see him being there. You know, I see him having a big impact on the game, and I see Zach Davis just going ballistic and going off. And I do think it's a long night for Kenton. I feel like Run DMC takes it, and it's not even close.
Peter, are you going to be the one lone voice in the wilderness here?
So I'm excited about this game. I always enjoy playing against Zach because he's a great player. The last time I played against him was in the championship of my rookie season, and happened to take that one. You know, Zach is such a great player. He controls the league. He controls the floor of play, and coming into this game, obviously he's really upset. Only 3 guys on the floor, and it's the first time we've seen Brian, and obviously I've knocked him coming into this game. In the recap, I talked about how scary Run DMC is, and I have to play them the first week that I'm saying that. This is a team that I am scared to play we're talking about all this offensive strategy that we have obviously on our team, and I feel like we're one of the best offensive teams in the league simply because we have guys like Austin and Andy who steps out. We're not going to have Andy this week, but you're talking about Run DMC, who's going up against Joe Gant last week with 3 players on the floor. They had 2 goals in the first period, and now I'm going against full floor players this week. And I'm supposed to be scoring goals against them when they only let in 2 goals last week with only 3 guys on the floor? How can I not go with Run DMC this week? It sucks not to pick my team, but losing Andy is going to be a big deficit. I'm excited to play. I think Austin and I are just missing on passes on both him to me and me to him, so I think we can score a lot. But we need to be him and I both need to be having 5 to 7 goal nights to make this game even close. I mean, this game is going to be in the 15-plus range against us, so we need to be in that 15-goal range. But to me, I have to go Run DMC. We're missing Andy, who is such a key player on our team, and we just have to figure out our defense. And I don't think we have an identity right now. We can score a lot. I don't see anything else.
I disagree with that slightly. I mean, you would know better than I do because you're on the team, but I think you have a little bit of identity on the offensive side of this.
Unfortunately, this week.
Yeah, Andy is a big key. I think he's even a bigger key against a team that has just so much firepower and so much speed. So I completely agree. So just Jeremy, do you have Kurt's picks, Cannonball's picks?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like everyone agrees with NWA, everyone agrees with the Tribe Called Quest, everyone agrees with Run DMC, and Jeremy's the one lone voice against Wu-Tang Clan in Game 3, picking Sugar Hill, depending on Cannonball's picks for Game 3 and 4.
Those are also the same. Kurt's siding with you guys.
Wu-Tang and Run DMC.
Yeah.
So that, like I said in the beginning, there are 4 clear favorites, which means that all of us have the potential to look pretty darn stupid Wednesday around 11 o'clock.
I'd love that. I would love to see that happen.
Well, maybe not Game 4. So let me wrap up our Week 3 preview edition with another off the wall question. And by the way, if you guys have any suggestions for questions or ideas, send them over to me.
Throw a rock through his window.
Yes, tie it to a rock and throw it through my window.
Can I send a pigeon?
No. And but seriously, any feedback you guys have, we want to make this better. We want to make this something that you guys want to listen to. We have a hell of a lot of fun doing it, and hopefully you can hear that. But we want to make sure that it's actually fun to listen to as well. So you are staffing a bank heist. You're putting a team of people together to rob a bank. Who do you have on the team? And if you want for extra credit, what are their roles? No more than 3 or 4 guys, though, other than yourself. I will start this one because I did start to think about this one about 5 minutes ago when PR was rambling about something. I don't remember. But I have a question. Who drives that fast car? Is it Jesse or Joe?
The Camaro?
Yeah.
Jesse.
That is Jesse?
Yeah.
So Jesse's my getaway driver. So I definitely have Jesse as my getaway driver because he drives a nice Camaro, and I'm guessing he knows how to handle it and he can get away quicker. I got JJ or Jerry Wagner as one of my guys. I think Peter's crossing it out. You can have him too. He can have multiple names. I think he's just such a utility guy. He's a grinder. He's going to be able to do whatever we need him to do, and he's not going to give up. He's also one of those guys who I could see going out in a blaze of glory at the end if we end up getting caught. So I think that's important. And I got John Strachan. Because nobody pays attention. He can slide in and out, and nobody
gonna walk
there
into the bank.
Yeah,
just be like, I'm gonna steal your money, and they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Wait, who are you again? and he's gonna walk out with bags of money, and we no altercations, and that's just a win-win.
Well, it's a good point. Definitely a good point. I had JJ as my grab and go guy. But I didn't think about the ghost aspect of John Strachan.
There's lots of grabbing go guys in the league, though. You can get Kevin Parker, you can get a lot of guys.
Yeah, I know, but I really like JJ.
All right, well, take JJ. I'll take Kevin Parker.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. First one I'm going to take is Ian Smith.
Have you picked? Hold on.
What?
We've done 4 of these questions now.
Yeah.
I think you picked Ian for 3 of them, only not giving him most swagger to Mike Sturgis.
Yeah, no, but I didn't know I could pick Ian.
But in the second question I asked you, I think you tripled down on Ian and picked him 3 times.
Yeah, because he would be great in battle.
All right, so I thought that Gaffey was the most versatile player in this league, where you could pick him for anything. But You're really leaning a little too heavily on Ian here.
I'm not leaning too heavily on Ian. Have you tried to lean against him? He'll fall down to the floor and then get a penalty, and then we got a power play.
All right.
That's why I'm going with Ian.
So
Ian's always going to be my
power play
man.
on the bank heist is very important.
It's very important because that means that they are one less player down, and we can have more opportunity to steal some money. So Ian is definitely a huge part
This
of.
bank heist is not a power play.
Next person I got to go with is Patrick Cousin now, because mainly I feel like he's going to be bringing girls to the event, and everyone
you
needs
got all that
girls.
money. You want to spend that.
Absolutely, and
Hookers and blow.
the final one I'm gonna go with.
It's not Conquest strength. Neither is stopping my shots.
I know.
Bam! Oh my gosh, the final one I'm gonna go with is Dave King. Because his last name is King, and someone of King status needs a lot of money. So I just want him to have that type of money. So he's going to be a part of
And
it.
if I'm staffing the bank, I'll probably forget about him entirely. So
Exactly, because his name is King.
Yeah, Dave.
So my 3 picks, I went with
Ian Smith.
no. I went with how I felt like their outside life from hockey would benefit in robbing a bank.
Here comes the
Oh.
gun status again.
So no. You got Gaffey Saito's an engineer.
See, I still think Gaffey is a more versatile pick than Ian.
So he's
You
an
can pick
engineer.
Gaffey for any of these
Worst case scenario, you can build a fucking robot or something that can crack a vault. That's what Gaffey's his role is. Dan Gladding's an
Is that what
architect.
he really does at Harris?
Dan Gladding is an architect.
Dan Gladding's an architect, so now he's got the structural weaknesses of this building, so Gaffey builds his robotic bomb.
He's got a lot of heart and hustle too.
True.
Dan.
And then we need a distraction, and who better than Joe Gant with that glorious fucking hair as my distraction? Obviously, I'm providing the muscle in case anything goes bad, but with that team, there's nothing. I have no worries.
Hopefully there's no defense, you guys.
No, we're gonna walk out of the bank like unnoticed because people. It's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna be looking at Joe Gant's hair, and then the money's gone.
Okay. I'm gonna go with
Gianni Suggs.
John Chatterton.
Yeah, you can't pick Gianni because he's already suspicious now when he walks in a bank.
He sucked.
He sucks.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with John because he works over at the 911 center and he could figure out some kind of way to, cut off communication with the cops. I'm gonna pick Bob because he would be able to plan something out really, really well and have like all the information to back it up and the statistics and all that, like what time to rob the bank.
And then be wrong about it.
I'm gonna pick Mike Furlano because he would just get all the friggin' money in the whole bank and then he's super nice about it, so everybody would think he's kind of a nice guy. I sympathize with him. I'm not gonna try too hard to call the cops.
I'm not going to try too hard to call the cops.
And then Austin because he could be our fall guy, and if he gets arrested, he's still a minor, so he wouldn't have as much of a penalty, or he wouldn't get as much jail time than any of us adults.
Oh, jeez. There we go. Finishing strong with Conquest picks.
Unbelievable.
Again, we enjoy doing this podcast. Give us the feedback if you hate it. Give us feedback if you love it. Let us know what we can improve. Hopefully we're right about these week 3 games, especially because we all picked me to win.
Don't forget about OG Pete Skidmore, because he's got all the guns too. He shot himself in the Winter Classic.
Wait.
Remember that?
Is
Remember how he
is that
had his
true
leg?
story?
Yeah, he had his leg all wrapped up because he shot a gun
He was your sleeper
and
pick for
it
Napoleon.
shot into his leg. So don't forget about that.
I mean, I
we
really-
learn new things about everyone every day.
If I'm
here.
going to battle, I don't want somebody that's shooting himself though.
On that note,
Well, thanks again for listening, guys. This was the week 3 preview of the Circle of Jerks podcast. See you guys on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday yet?